Chris Lato is getting trippy and I love it. Even Ryan Graves is talking about interdimensional UFOs. So let's talk about a bit of the trippier side of the phenomenon today. This is not going to be a deep dive, just covering some of the trippier aspects of all this in broad strokes. So get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and comment below. Let me know what you think. Okay, so yeah, on a recent episode with Chris Cuomo, Ryan Graves got into the interdimensional stuff, and he didn't usually get trippy, so I thought that was really interesting.
What was it that made it so important for you to get involved, and what keeps you involved?
And again, I know we've overused it early on, very pragmatic concerns in the beginning, but as this conversation has unfolded, it's almost been impossible to ignore. I mean, this has the potential to be the most interesting conversation that we could possibly have together, to be able to explore something like this that's going on, whatever it turns out to be. People talk about extra-dimensional. Is it something that we don't even understand because we're too limited of our understanding of the universe? I think it's incredible how this topic has been ignored and pushed back inside, in a sense, due to the stigma and the fear of being different or being cast away due to the silliness of the conversation.
Yeah, people think I've lost it.
Yeah, me too. People think I've lost it too, but that's where all this goes, is in very trippy directions. And we have people like Ryan Graves, who usually sticks to more of the nuts and bolts stuff, talking about the other dimensional aspect of the phenomenon. We have David Grush openly talking about the other dimensional aspect of the phenomenon. Now, to be clear, I think that a lot of UFOs come from our 3D reality. A lot of them probably come here from Earth, from beings that live here, maybe even ancient civilizations that used to live here but now are hidden. But a lot of these things seem to come from somewhere elsewhere, somewhere completely elsewhere. When David Grush talks about it, he talks about more of the holographic principle and how other higher dimensional beings could interact with a lower dimension. But there does seem to be more going on than that. More than just the imprint of higher dimensional beings on our 3D reality, which is what David Grush alludes to with the holographic principle. It seems like some beings and even craft are able to come here in body, in a physical sense, from other realms. Here's Chris Lato talking a little bit about that. Recently he came out with this theory of everything that I covered, and I highly recommend you checking out the full video that he put out there. Really, really interesting and juicy stuff there. But here is what he has to say about UFOs. I have found UAPs and know what they are and where they come from. Everything in the universe is light from a source pulse. It fractals into a sphere, which is a black hole. Inside the black hole, light can stack down to infinity by density. Einstein didn't consider density of light, which is its frequency and energy. I'll say that again. He didn't consider density of light, which is its frequency and energy. So the others can manipulate light with a lens to travel through dimensions like looking through a telescope. They can lower their light density or raise it to expand to larger scales and then scale back down anywhere in the universe. They are fractal versions of us from different densities of existence. We are all connected to everything else through the source wave. We are light beings that never die. I love it. I love it. Now, this is a really good question that Nico, who you are familiar with, put out. Do you mean density or frequency? Photons are massless particles, so I don't see how their density in any given volume of space would change anything. And that's kind of, my take on it too. Whenever I hear about beings and craft coming and going from dimensions, it's usually less about light and fractals, and it's usually more about frequency and vibration. But Chris right now is focused on light, and that is how he is seeing the shape of reality. And of course, light is we're all beings of light, right? It's all about vibration and how vibration interacts with light. From what I understand, creating density, so that they're all connected. But I would like to see Chris address the issue of frequency and vibration. So so great question from Nico. This is from Jacques Vallée's book on dimensions. Yeah, this is a quote from Dimensions, a casebook of alien contact, where he discusses fractal beings. The idea of fractal beings is not new. It was suggested by the French mathematician Benoit Mandelbrot. I said that right. Who showed that many natural forms, such as clouds, mountains, or coastlines, have a fractal structure. A fractal is a geometric shape that can be divided into parts, each of which is a reduced scale version of the whole. Fractals have the property of self-similarity, meaning that they look the same at any scale. Fractals also have infinite complexity, meaning that they can be zoomed in indefinitely without losing any detail. Mandelbrot proposed that some UFOs could be fractal objects, changing their shape and size according to the observer's perspective. He also speculated that some alien beings could be fractal entities living in dimensions that is inaccessible to our senses, but occasionally manifesting in our reality as strange forms and phenomena. But it's not just the beings that can materialize in our reality from higher dimensions. We can also go there. Here's famous remote viewer Joseph McGonigal talking about out-of-body experiences and vibration.
You lay in a certain position and you try to generate a repetitive vibration that starts at your feet, and it like runs up your body to the top of your head and back down to your feet. Most people, when they get this, get uncomfortable and they move around and it stops. If you generate it and it runs up to the head and down to the feet, you can keep it going. You can energize it. You can put more energy behind it to the point that you eventually separate from your body, roll out of your body so that you're looking down at your body, or you pass through a wall and you're outside floating like in some suspended state of disbelief, because it's as real as you and I are sitting here talking when you're out of body and completely out of body.
Now, I can back up a little bit of what Joseph is saying. Now, he's the really experienced one. I've only had one out-of-body experience, but I distinctly remember that vibration that came over me, or I was just shaking and trembling and vibrating as my soul or consciousness was, getting out of my body. It was very distinctive and very interesting. Does this have anything to do with the vibration or frequency that UFOs seem to utilize when they're coming and going from their home dimensions, if that's where they're coming from? Well, I don't know, but here's what Nikola Tesla said. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Somehow they're all linked, and the beings seem to be able to utilize this, the ones that are coming from somewhere else entirely. And we can also utilize this with our own consciousnesses to travel to some of those same places. At least that's what my research has shown. In some of my own experiences as well, they seem to indicate there is a heavy dimensional aspect to the phenomenon. Most of my experiences are with what I call the greater phenomenon. I've only had one or two actual UFO experiences, but my main UFO experience was itself very trippy and more metaphysical. But it was a UFO. So yeah, they're all connected, and I think that people talking about the interdimensional aspect of all of this and frequency and light and all of that stuff is very important because that's how we're going to understand it. We have to look at all the aspects of it, not just the nuts and bolts stuff that, are more familiar to us and, more understandable. It would be so much easier if it was just nuts and bolts, right? Then we could probably understand it or at least have a framework to understand it, right? But we're talking about stuff that we don't even have words for. But we can do it. We can totally do it. Just like Joseph McGonigal talking about leaving his body and going somewhere else. We can all do that, and the beings can also do that to come here, those that are coming from elsewhere. But that's just what I have to say. Let me know your thoughts about all this trippy craziness in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure would appreciate it. Smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media, Facebook and Twitter links below. Love to see you guys there. If you wanted to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, please consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store below, or by becoming a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Also, channel members frequently get to see videos hours ahead of everybody else. Meanwhile, there are plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out. Oh, and here's my 8K celebration dance. Okay, enough.